What is going on, guys? It's Yoji. So I wanted to make a Chaos Innoculation, aka CI build, at least once this league. For those who do not know, it is a build that mainly uses Energy Shield as a form of defense. Now my main problem with CI is stun. I really hate being stunned by every little son of a white mob looking at me funny. But stun is based off your life. And in the case of CI, not of your one life you have left, but of the base life you would have before CI. But that's at most going to be like 1.5 to 2k. So in maps, basically everything will still stun you. And some of the most common solutions to that problem are too fucking expensive, has no movement speed and thus feels shit, lose a ton of crit and damage stats you would normally have on a rare amulet, spend a ton of passive points to travel to the ass of the world. So the best solution to me seemed find a build that does not lose too much damage from using Eye of Chayula as an amulet. The energy shield stats lost from not using a good rare amulet, I can easily compensate by using the Occultist Ascendancy class. Because it's so freaking strong and gives so much ES that we can easily deal with that. So my first thought was Essence Drain with Contagion. The problem with that is I already played Essence Drain Contagion, and while it was fun, it was a bit clunky to use. But on the other hand, the passive tree I made for CI Essence Drain was so sexy. I mean, have I played too much PoE when I find the passive tree sexy? But it's just so elegant and point efficient and has everything the build needs. Already at a very low character level, while still having so much room to grow at higher levels. So yeah, I really like that passive tree, okay? Well, good thing, everything that scales Essence Drain also scales Caustic Arrow, also known as a Cancer Arrow sometimes. Damage over time, chaos damage, projectile damage, okay, not spell damage. But instead we get area damage. That's nice, right? The tree is still the same sexy beast. But Yoji, Caustic Arrow is so boring. I actually find the skill very relaxing to play. Something about everything just quietly dying around my character makes me feel very calm, and that just made me sound like a psychopath. When dealing with cancer on a daily basis, you want to be immune yourself, right? So we go CI to be chaos immune. Makes perfect sense. Other reasons to go CI are using 5 utility flasks, as flasks are OP. Sexy passive trees, as already mentioned. CI saves you a lot of points. And a huge ES pool that is probably larger than any life pool you ever had. The chaos immunity does not even matter all that much, to be honest. And it's definitely not the main reason people go CI. I mean, why else do you think everyone else runs around with minus 60 chaos res, if it is that important to have? Downsides of CI other than stun are status ailments like freeze and shock. The solution to that? Flask mods for immunity. Another downside? No instant flasks. The solution I found for this build? The Wicked Ward and Vile Bastion Ascendancy passives, as well as Essence Surge on the passive tree, and the skill Vile Discipline. Vile Discipline is a skill that is basically a slower version of an instant flask with way less uses. So that alone cannot really be the solution, but it is a good oh shit button to have. Wicked Ward makes it so your ES recharge cannot be interrupted for 4 seconds after it started. And Essence Surge makes it so that you recharge faster and the recharge starts earlier. So it's basically like an additional Vile Discipline whenever your recharge begins. That is really good, by the way. And Vile Bastion gives you a ton of ES regen while clearing. We're talking Righteous Fire build levels of regen here. So while clearing, you basically have to get one shot to die. The third ascendancy I take is Void Bacon. Take this ascendancy first in normal, as while leveling you will be life based. So the energy shield ascendancy will not help you much at this point yet. But damage always works. The reasons for leveling as life based are plenty, but it all boils down to life is more forgiving and less gear dependent. Oh, and the lab really sucks as an ES character, at least when compared to life. It is still doable though. If I want to run the lab on this character, I use a forbidden technique that has long been forgotten by even the best of Path of Exile players. A technique so rarely used, you probably do not know which button is the default shortcut for it. Weapon swap. I swap my weapons to a Darkscorn bow and a Soul Strike quiver whenever I run a trap gauntlet. Darkscorn lets me take 25% of physical damage, aka I take 25% less physical damage because I am chaos immune. And Soul Strike makes it so that ES recharge kicks in so fast, you can basically ignore traps just as any other good life-based build can. Another thing a lot of people ask is, when do you switch to CI? I recommend level 70. That is when you can actually get really solid ES gear. Overall, I recommend around 7k ES after making the switch, minimum. And more is of course better, especially if you're playing hardcore. And don't worry, CI takes a little bit of getting used to, as it is a very unique playstyle. But once you got the hang of it, it is really fun, really unique, and really cool to play. Lastly, let's talk about Cancer Arrow. Yes, I talk about the main skill of the build last. Don't question my script writing skills. So I already told you what scales Cancer Arrow, but I left out the most important part because... Don't question my script writing skills! Levels. Cancer Arrow scales really well with levels. To max out on levels, you use a bow that gives as many added gem levels as humanly possible. That is +2 to bow gems and +1 to all gems. I will link a guide on how to make one of these bows in the video description below. For support gems, I recommend Void Manipulation, Rapid Decay, Pierce, Slower Projectiles, and Empower of as high a level as you can afford. I am currently using a level 3 Empower support gem and it works great. For early leveling I recommend using a Silver Branch for the +1 to bow gems. Then later, around level 55ish or so, try to get a 5-link bow with +2 to bow gems. In normal, I also used a Hidden Potential unique jewel together with a few magic gear pieces to boost my damage early on. Since I am using the Pierce gem, that is 50% Pierce chance, I pick up another 40% Pierce chance on the tree and I use a Drill Neck for a total of 100% Pierce chance. Also remember, you can equip Drill Neck fairly early on, as it only requires level 36 to be used. Also with Pierce you can now aim behind the packs of mobs and the arrow will create a cancer cloud every time it hits and pierces an enemy. This greatly increases your AoE clear speed as well. On top of that, a spell totem with Wither can be used for single target health. I also run Vulnerability on Blasphemy, as well as Discipline for ES, and a low level Clarity for mana sustain. I recommend cast when damage taken Immortal Call to help against some enemy types such as porcupines. I will put all relevant information, such as the leveling tree and the sexy endgame passive tree, into the video description, as well as bandits and all that other crap people always ask for. Subscribe for more PoE content. I am Yoji, and I'll see you soon.